Hey everyone, welcome back to The Dang Good Show. I'm your host, Christine Dang, or as you know me, C Dang. Today, we're wrapping up our 3-part series with a topic that has fascinated humans for centuries, the dance between intuition and logic. This episode, Intuition versus Logic, Finding the Balance in Big Decisions, is all about exploring how we can use both our gut feelings and our rational mind to make decisions that align with our values and brings us closer to a fulfilling life. Now, you might be wondering why intuition and logic deserves a whole episode. It's because these two forces are powerful tools that can guide us through life's biggest and smallest choices. By understanding when to lean into our intuition and when to use logic, we can make choices that feel both right and smart. All right, so grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's dive into the fascinating world of intuition and logic. Let's start with the basics. What exactly are intuition and logic? Intuition is that inner feeling or gut sense we get about something. It's often spontaneous, arising without us actively thinking about it. Logic, on the other hand, is rooted in analysis, reasoning, and facts. It's the rational part of our mind that helps us weigh pros and cons, look at evidence, and form conclusions based on objective information. Both intuition and logic play essential roles in decision-making. Think of intuition as a quiet voice inside that just knows something, and logic as the rational thinker that evaluates the details. Learning to balance these two can help us avoid rash decisions, while also preventing us from overthinking everything. I've got to say, there have been moments in my life where intuition quite literally saved me. Let me give you an example. There were times where something just told me to stop walking. And if I had taken even one more step, I might have been hit by a person riding a bike, a car, or a motorcycle. And here's the kicker. In those moments, I had every logical reason to keep going. The lights were red and the pedestrian signal was on. Everything told me it was safe, yet something within me made me pause. I remember as a kid too, I get this little nudge of hesitation before doing something adventurous, like climbing a tree or trying a new bike trick. If I ignored it, I often end up hurt or regretting it. At the time, I thought of intuition as some magical power or fluff. But as I've grown older, I've realized intuition is a legitimate guiding force, almost like an internal alarm system. It's kept me safe, shaped my life choices, and even led me to where I am today, sharing my experiences with you on this podcast. I now see intuition as a companion that guides me, especially in situations where logic alone might not provide the full answer. So let's bring some science into the mix. Research shows that intuition isn't just woo-woo or mystical. It's actually a real cognitive process. Dr. Gary Klein, a research psychologist, spent years studying how people make decisions in high-stress situations, like firefighters in action or emergency responders. He found that in these intense moments, often rely on intuition to make split-second decisions, and these decisions are usually right. It turns out that intuition is our brain's way of using experienced and learned patterns to make quick judgments. When we encounter a situation similar to something we've experienced before, our brain taps into that stored knowledge to give us a gut feeling. So intuition isn't random. It's a reflection of our accumulated experiences and subconscious knowledge. A study from the University of New South Wales also found that people who trust their gut tend to make better decisions in uncertain situations. This is because our intuition can pick up on subtle cues that our logical mind might miss. When combined with logic, intuition can help us make well-rounded choices. Now, let's talk about logic. Logic is an incredible tool, especially for making decisions that require careful thought, like budgeting, planning, or analyzing risks. But relying solely on logic can sometimes hold us back. For example, have you ever overanalyzed a situation to a point where you felt paralyzed? This is known as analysis paralysis, and it happens when we're so focused on gathering facts and weighing every possible outcome that we end up stuck. Logic is essential, but it can make us second-guess our choices if we rely on it too much, especially in situations that requires a leap of faith or an emotional investment. I've been there and done that, and frankly, it's not a great experience. Enjoying what you're hearing? Fantastic! To make sure you're always in the loop with the latest episode, just hit that subscribe button. Your support makes all the difference. And hey, this podcast thrives because of awesome listeners like you. So a big shout out for that. And of course, I'm on Instagram. Find and follow me at Christine_Dang. Lastly, looking for more information on what we discussed today? Just cruise on over to thedangoodshow.com, click on the episode you're curious about, and voila, access to the show notes. Now, without further ado, let's jump back into the show. There's another story I want to share that really drove home the importance of balancing intuition and logic. I used to be incredibly hesitant to follow my intuition when making big decisions. I'd let logic lead, sometimes to my detriment. I'd overthink every option and end up drained, unsure, and more often than not, with regrets. I remember this one time I was about to travel solo. Logically, everything checked out. I've done my research, made my plans, and prepared myself as best as possible. But deep down, my gut was nagging at me, urging me to think twice. I ended up listening to that instinct and changing some parts of my plan. And let me tell you, it saved me a lot of hassle. In another instance, I had to make a career decision. Logic told me to stick with security, but my intuition kept pointing me towards a path that aligned more with my passions. After some inner work, I took the plunge, and it's one of the best choices I've made. Today, I get to share my journey with all of you, meeting amazing people and learning so much along the way. Following that gut feeling, balanced with logic, led me to where I am now, doing what I love. Let's get into some practical ways to find a balance between intuition and logic in your own life. Here are some steps to help you approach decisions with a well-rounded mindset. Number 1, pause and reflect. Now, when faced with a decision, give yourself a moment to tune into your initial gut feeling. Notice any instant reactions or emotions before diving into logical analysis. Number 2, identify your priorities. What are your non-negotiables? Make a list of what's most important to you in the decision. This will help your logic focus on what really matters and give intuition a clear direction to guide you. Number 3, ask yourself, why? If your intuition is nudging you one way, ask yourself why. Try to unpack the feeling and see if it's rooted in fear, excitement, or something else. This helps you understand where the intuition is coming from. Number 4, gather facts, but don't drown in them. So do your research, but set a limit. Information overload can cloud your intuition, so find a healthy balance by focusing on key details. Number 5, seek feedback. Talking to someone you trust can help bring a fresh perspective, which can clarify whether you're leaning too much on either intuition or logic. Number 6, trust the pattern. If you notice a consistent gut feeling that has served you well in the past, trust it. Recognize when your intuition has worked before and use that confidence to guide you. And lastly, number 7, use visualization. Imagine each decision path clearly. Feel into what each outcome might look like and how it resonates. Sometimes visualizing the end results will clarify your gut instincts or logical reasoning. When we balance intuition with logic, we create a life that feels true to us. Instead of constantly second-guessing or being swayed by external factors, we develop an inner compass that guides us. I believe that following this approach has led me to meet incredible people, travel to amazing places, and live life with a sense of confidence. It's allowed me to bring valuable stories and experiences to you on this show. I've learned that while life isn't perfect, it can be fulfilling when we trust our inner wisdom while keeping our feet on the ground. So, to wrap up, intuition and logic aren't opposing forces. They're partners. Intuition gives us that instant insight, while logic keeps us grounded in reality. By blending the two, we can make decisions that feel both right and reasonable. Now, if today's episode resonated with you, think about a decision you've been wrestling with. How can you approach it with a balance of intuition and logic? And what steps can you take to hear both voices and let them guide you? All right, friends, that's a wrap for episode 37, Intuition versus Logic, Finding the Balance in Big Decisions. I hope this episode helps you approach decisions with greater clarity and trust in your own process. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who might also benefit from learning how to balance intuition with logic. Let's spread the word about how tuning into our inner wisdom and applying rational thinking can help us lead a more fulfilling life. Remember, making decisions isn't always easy, but when you learn to trust yourself and use both intuition and logic, you're building a foundation that can help guide you through life's ups and downs. As always, thank you so much for tuning in to The Dang Good Show. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a review if you're finding value in the episodes. I love hearing from you. So drop me a message or comment if you have questions or want to share how you use intuition and logic in your life. Until next time, keep trusting yourself, stay curious, and remember that every decision is a chance to grow and learn. Much love, C Dang signing out. Thank you for joining us on The Dang Good Show. Remember to swing by our website, thedangoodshow.com, where you can easily subscribe on platforms like Apple, Google, and Spotify to keep up with our latest episodes. Loved what you heard today? A thumbs up and a positive review on your favorite listening platform would be incredibly appreciated. And if our show struck a chord with you, sharing it with just one friend can help our community grow and thrive. Thanks once more for lending your ears to me on The Dang Good Show. Until we meet again, take care and goodbye.